guys, and welcome to today's video. A full day of eating vegan, if I was gonna eat vegan. So good morning everyone, I've literally just finished my morning shop. It is about 20 to 7 at the moment. So I've trained this morning, I fasted, I haven't eaten anything yet. And I will take you guys through my first meal, but first things first, I have 2 PT sessions this morning. So I'm going to put what I need to put in the fridge here. I'm going to run over to the oval across the road. That's where I'm doing my sessions this morning. And then when I get back, I will take you guys through my first meal and what I've done for the entire shop of day prep. Someone mentioned to do like a day of eating on the fly, and I feel like this is kind of that. So I haven't really planned out anything, but just based off what I know, I would recommend someone to eat, and like me hitting my protein goal and things like that. I know kind of the foods that I wanted, but I kind of spent way too long in Coles this morning just pacing up and down the aisles. And first things first, shopping vegan is crazy expensive. So if you eat vegan, I can nearly guarantee you probably are earning 6 figures, because that was intense if I had to do that very consistently. But I'll see you guys in 2 hours. So I have completed my shopping and I've laid it all out for you guys to see here. I'm very, once again, surprised at how expensive all of this stuff was. Like, very, very surprised. If you are vegan, then props to you. Total was $80, and what I ended up going through was I wanted to try and buy things that were all whole foods and not just go entirely to all of the kind of like fake vegan meats and stuff like that, because a lot of them are like pea protein bases, and I'm going to be utilizing a pea protein or a plant-based protein in general. The one that I'm going to be utilizing, we have a bunch in the shop obviously, so we've got everything from White Wolf, we've got Switch, we've got Ghost Vegan, but one of my favorite ones to utilize is this, Combat Reload. So they don't actually entirely advertise as a like vegan company, they're more of a company orientated around combat sports, but the protein that they do use is a vegan one, and it's probably my favorite just based on the taste and the formula. So let's run through what we have. So we're starting off with breakfast. I'm going to have my normal like 60 grams of oats. I'm going to add in 1 scoop of the Combat Reload protein. I'm going to be using peanut butter. I'm going to use about 20 grams of peanut butter, and I'm going to have my 200 grams of raspberries as normal, and that will be breakfast. So breakfast won't really change up too much. But what I did buy that is different, I bought some tempeh, some tofu that I'll be making up with a salad and using the almonds that we have here. The one thing I did buy, I kind of folded and bought the Beyond Burger, just purely based off the fact that I've never had it, so I wanted to give that a shot. It'll be interesting to see what it actually tastes like. But then the rest of the stuff that I've got, let me try and focus this up on my face. We got 4 bean mix. We have the All Pro, which is the almond-based version of YoPro, the plant-based protein version of a yogurt. And then I brought this supernatural protein bread, so any sort of like whole grain or spelt flour type bread. But the base of this one is just normal wheat flour, and then they do utilize, where is the actual protein source coming from? A sprouted mixed grains kind of blend that they have in here, and then obviously nuts. So the one thing to keep in mind with some of the plant-based or the protein-based breads is they can be lower in carb but higher in fat, where this one is actually only 4.5 grams of fat, which is lower than what some of the other alternatives are. So that's kind of why I went with this one, because I'll be getting so much fat from other things that I'm eating, like the plant-based meats and the tofu and the nuts and stuff like that as well. So I'll put my macros up on the screen now of what I'm actually going to try and hit, but this is what I bought for my day of eating. Oh, sorry, and my roasted edamame beans, but I didn't even buy these. I eat these on a daily basis. So keen to rip into my first meal, which will be on the next one. So the one thing I did notice utilizing like this plant-based protein in my oats, which I've used before and then just completely forgot, was it soaks up so much more water. So when I first kind of added in the scoop, I was like, man, this is so dry. So I ended up having to pour a little bit of the oat milk in there as well, but this is kind of what it looks like. When I've had, like I've said before, had Combat as a plant-based protein before and rate it highly. So out of all your plant-based proteins, that would probably be my go-to. Banana cinnamon in White Wolf is like another delicious one, and peanut butter toffee. Oof. In the protein switch. And keep in mind, I don't normally use plant-based proteins because I don't have any sort of like issues with whey. But if you do, definitely a good alternative. But meal one going down. Once again, 60 grams of oats, added in a scoop of the Combat Reload protein, Walden Farm maple syrup, 20 grams of peanut butter, and 200 grams of raspberries.
Nice.
For the next meal, we've decided to go with the Beyond Burger patty. I've got 2 slices of tomato, some of the crunchy jalapenos on there, some butter lettuce, and then 2 slices of our Alpine bread, Alpine Supernatural protein bread. I'm keen to give this a run. I actually haven't had any sort of, or any of the Beyond Burger patties before, so I'm keen to actually give it a try and see how it tastes. So we'll give it the official flavor review now. To be honest, the one thing that like was crazy to me was the patties worked out to be $45 a kilo. That's just insanity. So, you know, there's no way I think it would be feasible to just eat these on a regular basis if you're eating on a budget, especially. If you are eating on a budget, you're definitely going to be leaning more towards the like soy-based side of things with like your tofu and your tempeh and your lentils, and you know, then kind of supplementing your protein sources with powders more so, because way more cost effective. Obviously there's tons of different like whole grain and like, you know, plant-based protein sources you have. These are just super convenient, and I think the appeal comes from the taste of them and the variety in which you can have in terms of the things that they make taste like alternative meat sources. And you know, it's the appeal, I guess, that comes from the taste. But the price is definitely not one of them, especially considering most of the other kind of plant-based protein sources from whole food sources are way cheaper. But it's actually not that bad. I see why Hungry Jack's decided to use this one, because it actually does kind of remind me of that, like Hungry Jack's burger vibe to it. Even the texture is pretty similar to real meat, to be honest. I think they've done a good job. You know what the funny part was today, as I was walking through doing my like shopping at Coles, the ads that were over the speakers, they were talking about voting for the top like Forks meat, like plant-based meat patties. I think these guys won like last year, but that's a whole industry in itself now. You go to like the kind of vegan plant-based section, there's so many different patties. They're just all ludicrously expensive, so I guess it's going to be it's like the taste versus cost, but that's not bad at all. So I'll put the macros for this meal up now, and I'm going to finish eating this. I'm actually going to eat the other patty too, because they come with 2, but I'm not going to track that as a day of eating, because normally I wouldn't advise it eating both, because I think it's going to be like each patty's like 200 calories. But in saying that, I'm never going to eat it again. It's just going to sit out in the fridge, so I might as well eat it today. So we are on to our next meal, which I'm going to be utilizing smaller snacks. So we're going to do some of the White Wolf peanut brittle plant protein custard, which I have had before, and it's alright, but it's not unreal. But it'll get the job done, and it's just something that I want to utilize with my yogurt, which I'm going to have this All Pro yogurt, plant-based yogurt, which once again was like $1 billion. So I'm going to mix up the White Wolf peanut brittle custard with some oat milk, and then I'm going to add some of the All Pro yogurt in there as well. I would normally put like fruit with this as well, but I didn't buy any sort of like low fiber fruit. And the thing is, I'm already going to be getting just like a ludicrous amount of fiber from a lot of the foods that I'm eating. So I'm just trying not to overdo it, so I don't end up shitting my pants while I'm driving. That's half the battle, man, honestly. It's just the grief that just an exorbitant amount of fiber could cause you when I'm like going from 0 to 100 on a day like today. So I'm going to mix this up now, and I'll show you guys what kind of consistency it creates. Let me just adjust this a little bit. So I'm pretty sure with this one, you know what? Let me fast forward this. So this is what we've come up with. Oh. Fuck. So it looks good. I don't know what it's gonna taste like. Let's give it a run. Oh, it's so thick, eh? That's actually not bad at all. For some reason, I thought this plant protein custard was worse. That's actually not bad. I thought it was going to be way worse than that. Maybe the oat milk sweetens it up a little bit, and the yogurt as well sweetens it up a little bit. That's actually delicious. One thing I wish I bought for this was like some sort of like maybe whole grain cereal to have in that. Actually, no, that's section 5. I'm pretty much going to have to eat it as is. Some sort of low fiber cereal, like Cocoa Pops. To have with that would have been sick. But this is delicious. So I'm going to eat this now as my little snack. I throw the macros up for it on the screen, but once again, 1 scoop of the White Wolf plant-based protein custard. I went with 300 grams of that All Pro, which is essentially 2 servings. And then oat milk as the base. So, delicioso. So, next meal, we have gone with the tofu, which I've cooked up 200 grams. What I ended up doing was I left all kind of like the residue from when I cooked the Beyond patties just on the actual frying pan. And then I cooked the tofu up in that. So it actually gave it some flavor. I mean, I love tofu, and I've got like peri-peri seasoning and the sriracha anyway to give it some flavor. And then what I've done is I've gone with 75 grams of this Mexican bean mix. I had open already actually out the back instead of the 4 bean mix that I ended up buying. So that's 1 serve. I've used some of the butter lettuce. I've used about 2 handfuls of the cold power green mix. I've cut up some baby cubes, and randomly, just because I have them open and I love them, and it probably doesn't really make sense in the scheme of things, but I've got some baby beets and I'm going to throw in there as well. So obviously the protein from this meal is primarily coming from the tofu and the 4 bean mix, the carbohydrates coming from the 4 bean mix, and the fats coming from the tofu. So I'm going to mix all this together, and this will be my next meal. This will be a pretty volume heavy meal, so I'm honestly not gonna lie, I'm actually still full from that yogurt custard mix. That was a lot as well. It's just like a lot of volume in the food that I'm eating. So I'm not super hungry, but it's coming on 2 now. And I would usually eat between 2 and 2:30, and then I kind of run as soon as I get home. So this isn't my entire pre-workout meal, but it's the bigger portion of it. And then I'm going to have some rice cakes before I train. I just have to double check where my macros end up being after this meal, but I've already spoken too much, so let's get into it. So I ended up deciding to go with a Lenny and Larry's cookie instead of my rice cakes pre-workout. I've gone with the peanut butter one. We've got obviously a lot of different things in the shop. The Lenny and Larry's are one of the vegan options, but I think the other one's like the outright bar, the vegan outright bar. To be honest. So I decided to go with the peanut butter Lenny and Larry's cookie, and I haven't had one of these in ages, just based on the fact that like this whole cookie is like ludicrous. It's like 400 calories for the whole cookie, which personally I don't think it's worth it at all. But I haven't had one of these things in so long, and I was like, you know what, F it, let's have it. So Lenny and Larry's cookie pre-workout, let's go. The one thing worth mentioning as well, which I didn't, is supplementation wise, if I was eating entirely plant-based, it's always smart to get a blood test, go and see your doctor, ask their recommendation on things that you should be supplementing, or a super solid dietitian based around what your consumption is. For me, literally I'm only doing this for the day, and I'm doing this just to kind of help show people different food groups that they could incorporate, give them different meal ideas, and even just give you an idea of how I'm feeling when I'm eating it. But my supplement regime is not going to change. So I'm still having my, it's not a plant-based one, but I'm still having my fish oil today, my vitamin D3, both of which aren't vegan. So they're the 2 things I'm having that aren't vegan. And then my normal multivitamin, greens powder, all that kind of stuff. But once again, if you are eating a plant-based diet, you do want to consult with a dietitian or GP, see what you should be supplementing. to kind of fill the holes that inevitably a plant-based diet will create for you. One thing I have noticed today, I don't know if it's just I'm kind of on a roll with work, or I don't know what it is. Maybe like the preparation of today, like not putting too much thought process into the food and just kind of winging it. But I felt so productive. Maybe it's because my fats are higher than normal. Like I did like bump up my fats by nearly like 8% today. So I'm not too sure, but my brain feels like I'm functioning on a super solid level. And honestly, my guts still feel not too bad at the moment. So that is a good thing. So I am getting my cardio in for this afternoon. I'm already sweaty and gross, so I probably should have started this a little bit earlier, but just kind of recap on like what I've eaten today. I actually feel really good. Feel really good. Like I'm surprised. Like my digestion feels super good. My energy feels super good all morning. So I'm pretty happy with how today's eating has gone. Like I mentioned, not everyone who will eat plant-based will eat similar to me. Like I've eaten a lot of protein orientated stuff today, probably like more soy than someone should. Like there'd probably be more variety in what I would consider like a sustainable plant-based diet. But what I was eating today was what I would do if I was eating plant-based, and then, you know, I would most likely have more micronutrient diversity in there as well. I don't feel like there's a lot of diversity, but like I said, it was pretty much me buying shit on the fly. So when you do eat plant-based, and those of you who probably do eat plant-based and are quite fitness-orientated people would be aware that there's a lot of effort that goes into it, and it's really hard. Like it's not easy to eat plant-based. Like you find a lot of the people who eat plant-based that are into fitness are like kind of levels above, I would say, like in their preparation and mentality towards their nutrition. Obviously, because in a lot of aspects, there's passion and ethics that goes into it as well, but it's also not easy to maintain, so people know when they are making progress and on a plant-based diet, you know, how important it is to stay strict to things. So, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm only doing it for a day and then back on my normal diet tomorrow for the most part, dial it off in the afternoon and get ready to crush this, eat 10,000 calories and burn 5,000 calories in a day with eating. I've also got this mic that keeps appearing in because I bought a gimbal and a mic, so when I actually get it connected, the audio's got to be way better. I'm actually not even sure if the audio's going through my phone. It might be going through my AirPods, so not too sure how this clip's going to sound, but just wanted to touch base, tell you how I'm feeling. For dinner, I'm going to cook up that tempeh. I got the almonds, and I'm going to do a salad as well. I'll have to double check my macros, but I was thinking about putting it in a tortilla. I do kind of just feel like salad again, to be honest, but I'll see what I got left over. So the last meal of the day, I've cut up the tempeh that I've used, the maple bacon seasoning, and then I've kind of like calculated out, I don't even know if that's how you cook tempeh properly. So just cut into 5cm things there, and then, I don't know, we're going to give it a shot, we'll see how it turns out. And then I've counted my macros, and I don't have the macros remaining to kind of have the tortilla. So I'm literally doing the tempeh, and then I'm going to do a salad, which I've got 30 grams of almonds, I've got iceberg lettuce, the Australian superfood mix from Coles, and then I'm also going to add something and capsicum. There's something I'm going to add, which is this, the chipotle sauce La Costina, which I found at Woolies the other day, and this is, I was using taco sauce, but this is a must try. You've got to have this one. There's the bomb. But what I'll do is I'll sit the camera down, I'm going to cook this, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Let's go now. Okay. Well, that's everything that's been cooked up. So I put all my tempeh in the bowl. I've got my lettuce, my capsicum. I put my chipotle sauce in there. I use that Delicia maple bacon seasoning as well, which is vegan. Hence why I could use it to help help give like the tempeh some flavor. Oof. Tofu's so much better than that. That's rough, but I know. It's something different. Should have definitely went with tofu again, but I just didn't want to like double down on anything because you should be trying to give yourself some variety. But Wow. It's rough. Regrets. But I'll finish this off anyway. This is the last meal of the day, and then tomorrow I'll go back from normal. But macros will go up on the screen here. I'll put my macros for what I've tied off the entire day here. And like I said, this isn't a kind of plant-based diet that everyone should follow. This is just what I would personally do if I was eating vegan. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And if there's a different diet you want to see me follow, whether it's keto, paleo, carnivore, or something crazy, you know, feel free to throw it in the chat and I'll make a video, because I'm out here to try different things and then hopefully give you guys an idea of things you can eat, and even if it's something that you feel might be relevant to you, like what you would eat if this was your lifestyle, or what you would eat if you were doing like intermittent fasting or something along those lines. Just purely out here to give people ideas and help as best I can, guiding people with their nutrition, their training, their supplementation. But don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.